Back with us on the SportsMax zone, Vin Blaine will remain as Reggae Girlz head coach. That's the word from the Jamaica Football Federation as per a press release issued on Tuesday afternoon. This is what the release said. The JFF board has accepted the recommendation of the JFF Technical and Development Committee to retain the technical staff of the senior women's national team, including head coach Vin Blaine. In its report, subsequent to an initial investigation into concerns expressed by team members, the committee cited there was insufficient evidence to warrant any such change in personnel at this time. According to the report, it's in the best interest of the JFF to continue on its present course with the current coaching staff, where the progress will be closely monitored and evaluated periodically. Further, based on the results so far and with less than 2 months before the CONCACAF Women's Qualifying Tournament gets underway in Mexico, it is felt that introducing changes at this time would not be prudent. Towards this end, the JFF has the full confidence in the coaching staff and the team members, but recognizes the need to share in and support the process with some critical core values of the organization, including professionalism, teamwork, and respect. The JFF pledges, it continues, as the body responsible for football in Jamaica, to put everything in place within its powers to ensure the team is comfortable and can perform at their optimum to achieve Jamaica's second consecutive qualification to the FIFA Women's World Cup. Before I move on, just to say that it's interesting how the moment this story broke, it's almost as if those who wanted to engineer a coup were zeroing in on Vin Blaine. So the story emerged that the girls wanted Vin Blaine out, and Vin Blaine, Vin Blaine, Vin Blaine, Vin Blaine. I said at the top of the segment that the JFF statement said that Vin Blaine will remain. I just read for you the statement. The JFF is saying the entire coaching staff will remain. I think it's a huge distinction. Some people seem intent on just making it all seem as if it's Vin Blaine away and the rest can stay. The coaching staff stays, according to the JFF. Now, 20 members of the senior Reggae Girlz squad had signed a letter demanding the removal of the coaching staff. This is what they had said in terms of their concerns, the girls. They wanted the coaching staff out because of a lack of details in training session, lack of video analysis, bad planning at set pieces, no post-match review for team improvement, the absence of an organized game plan, no tactical training, lack of specificity of training sessions, the absence of specific positive instructions, lack of incorporation of all aspects of training, lack of a recovery methodology, and a lack of strength work or inadequate strength work. Where communication is concerned, they spoke about insufficient follow-ups, no opening and or closing meetings. Where organization was concerned, they spoke about a lack of professionalism, absence of staff without reasonable explanations, scant regard for punctuality, the absence of a schedule, daily or otherwise. Now, we reached out to head coach Vin Blaine earlier today, and he told us that due to his ongoing discussions with the JFF, he's declining comment at this time. Chairman of the JFF's Technical and Development Committee, Rudolph Speed, joins us now. Rudolph, welcome to the program. Are you hearing me?
Thank you for having me.
Ah, good. I'm hearing you now, loud and clear. All right. The first place to start is this. What process did the technical committee engage to arrive at the findings that it submitted to the JFF?
Well, I mean, the technical committee is really, they have a lot of professional persons who have a lot of technical competence and experience and knowledge. So we got the letter, it was circulated to the members. We got other documentation from the coach.
Like what?
The schedule. The set piece plays. So he had documentation to prove that these were sent out to the players. So he was able to refute some of the allegations up front. I mean, that alone would make you start to wonder if persons wanted to tell the truth or what was the game plan here. As you know, in law, and I'm not a lawyer, but my daughter is, and I know that probably just one thing that is untrue that can be proven is just enough to show the whole, because you just can't take any chances that people did their research and were saying the right thing. So there was about 5 things that the coach was able to refute with evidence. One of them was not his fault, which was the analyst, because the analyst was out of contract with the JFF and arrangement was not made. So you couldn't blame the coach for the analyst not being there for one game. The coach was able to prove that he spoke to a local analyst, which is fine, and that person was able to provide him.
And by analyst, you mean video analyst?
Yes, the person uses video to analyze the movements, etc., the Reggae Girlz. But that person was local. So once he realized that he didn't have the other analyst, he engaged another one, which he was able to prove that he did. So that's 5 things right there off the bat that we couldn't blame him for. Now, when we look at things like strength training, I mean, we all had a laugh because there's nobody in their right mind would come to a national setup and say the national setup is responsible for them, for their strength training. Strength training is an ongoing thing that is happening over years. So what Vin told us was that the gym was always available for the persons to continue the process, in their time. So we had a laugh about that one. So we didn't put a lot of merit to that. So there was like recovery. There was the meetings. He was able to prove that he had meetings. In the last game, he did not have any meeting because, or one of the games, let me not say the last game, because there was a lot of media persons interviewing the players, and it was a scarce after the game actually. When he tried to have a meeting the next morning, people was going our way like, early, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at girls' time. So he didn't have that meeting. So he was very specific about some of the items. We went through all 13. We discussed them thoroughly. And at the end of the day, there was the other item about this type of training, specificity, all of those things about training methodology, etc. I mean, different coach have different method. And we know that the modern coach actually sets up his organization, instruct the players and then sit back and watch, what they are going to do. If they do the thing right, then there's not much to be said. So, I mean, and coaches have different methods.
Yeah.
So the coach pointed out the fact that you don't like my method, but I'm 4 from 4.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really was profound, that statement that,
How many people sat on the committee, Rudolph? The technical committee?
6 persons. We have Barry Watson.
Yes.
Bailey. We have Elaine
Walker Brown.
We have Walker Brown.
Yes.
We have Marlon Hilton. We have Wendell Donzel, Peart. So and Mr. Denzel Wilkes. So these are really accomplished persons.
Yeah.
Who understand the game.
Insofar as the process is concerned, so you answered, you gave a substantial answer to what I'm interpreting to be one part of the answer, which is the process. So you say part of the process involved, since it is that the ladies had set down their complaints on paper, you were then able to evaluate, you had something on which to make your determination.
Right.
So you asked the coach to say, okay, prove evidence to refute this claim, that claim. So you went through that process. Did you
13
13, good. So of those 13 things, how many of them did he fail to corroborate, and then you would then be forced to find on the side of the claim made, which is the side of the girls? How many of them? How many of the 13?
No, well, five of them I said was not true. 5 of them was a matter of opinion, really, because saying that a coach don't coach properly, I mean, it's a matter of opinion.
Yeah.
His opinion is that, but I win all 4 games. So what are you talking about? Because if people know about modern coaching method, it's not necessarily to be hammering in your head to do this, to this. If you set up the organization and you achieve the results, you're good.
Yeah. So
then there was the one about recovery methodology. Of course, we think, there could be some improvements on a few of them, but there's no crisis here based on what we have seen.
Was there anything that you said that he couldn't substantively explain, and that you would find then that the complaint was legitimate? Was there any one of those 13?
No, but he did admit that he didn't have one of the meetings.
Right.
But it's just a part of what they put down. Right.
Right.
And he did admit also that there could have been improvements to the recovery process, but as you know, that's something that the physical trainer really does. He's responsible for everything. And he did admit also that the video analyst wasn't the one that they were used to.
Did the committee have need to interview Vin Blaine? Well, no, you said you spoke to him. Good. Did you interview any of the players?
He was in the meeting for hours.
Yeah.
Vin Blaine. Yes.
So he was there. Good. Did you have to interview any of the players or anybody else who was party to the whole
we never
thing?
thought it was necessary to call the players because they put what they were talking about in writing. You know, some people say that's a bad policy, but I can assure you that even the Supreme Court in England, a lot of times cases come before them, they don't want to see anybody, they don't want to talk to any other witnesses. They look at what is before them because it is copious and detailed, and they are able to make recommendations based on that. And based on the expertise that we have then when you're done, who have been to 4 World Cup. I mean, we have a lot of people that we can call on to say, explain this, explain that. So we use other methods. There was other things being said that I don't want to speak here about. Yeah. But we have a whole heap of other documentation that we went through and kind of form a very good idea of what transferred.
Right, Rudolph, the timing, did that have any part to play in the decision that was made? Because, I mean, it's just a couple months before the girls get back in action again.
Well, we didn't want anybody to rush us. And that is why we did copious. We went through the documentation, or went through other documents that we had. And I can assure you that we also watched the games, and we saw structure and how the team play. So it was a little bit, to say we had no structure, etc., and all those things. We didn't see that. We went through the games and looked at all that. We also noticed that one of the girls who signed the document never ever played for the Reggae Girlz, not even one time. We noticed also that one of the person was dropped from the Grenada match, and they are still talking about things that would have happened after that. So we noticed that one of the girls only played in 1 game too. So there's a lot of things that let us be wary of what we had, and really, I mean, we went through, we checked everything, and that's why we came up with the conclusion we came up with.
When the interview with Vin Blaine came out, one of the things that really stood out to me was the fact that, initially there was resistance from some of the girls, of course, because of what they were being told and being fed by whoever was in the background in their ear. Do you get the sense that moving forward, the coaching process will be seamless and, the girls will just do what they have to do in a professional manner to get the job done?
Right. So this wasn't brought out in the press release, but there are senior players that their behavior was very unprofessional. I mean, right through. And they should be ashamed of themselves. Also, we know of incidents, and we spoke to Coach Blaine about it and asked him why didn't you step on these indiscipline, and he explained, he gave us an explanation. Which we thought, I didn't think it was reasonable personally, but I mean, he gave us an explanation as to the reason why he didn't want to rock the boat too much. So we have to accept it. So you're 100% correct about some of the players who were just very unprofessional, and it's something that we have to move past because I'm sure that those girls in their other environment where they earn a living, they could never ever go against the coaching instruction or behave the way that we have some evidence that they have behaved.
Yeah. Rudolph, could you indicate which of these senior players we might be talking about here?
I wouldn't want to do that because there's has to be some reconciliation process eventually.
Yes.
So I wouldn't want to single them out, but definitely the senior players or player who was singling out, we will have words with them. Because at the end of the day, the JFF is the one who runs football in Jamaica. It was made very clear by the board who was in charge and who was not in charge. So all of that will be sorting out. The coach made some other allegations about persons interfering, and we'll be looking into that too.
Yeah, Rudolph, as we said earlier, we tried to get the coach, Vin Blaine, to talk to us here on the show. He declined an interview, but he did give an interview to the Jamaica Observer, which we are looking at now. And he did indicate that even though he has the JFF's backing, he isn't certain yet if he will continue. I'm going to ask you first if there is an update on that and the discussions that you would have had with him. Do you feel that he'll be inclined to stay on?
No, I mean, in the meeting, we did ask him that question too. We had a long meeting, and he was distraught. I mean, So not use the word distraught, but he was. He didn't think he wanted to stay on under the circumstances that he's working on, with pressures, and he mentioned external forces, etc. He didn't want to stay.
Yeah, one of the quotations we saw in the newspaper was that he considered it a toxic environment, and that he would have to remove some people and would have to take a different approach towards the players, because he knew that not all the players were in agreement with removing the staff. So I'm reading that to mean, and you could correct me if you have a different opinion, that maybe some key players that the team depends on, he would not use them based on the toxic environment in his estimation that they would have created if he were staying on?
Well, our technical committee, or the technical chairman, or the president, we don't interfere with coaches' selection policy. They are entrusted to select who they want to play. Of course, we will be examining what their actions and the results are. So he does have a free role to decide who he wants to play on the team if he stays on, and it's the same with any other coach that will come in.
I'm just saying, I just want to know if I'm reading him right, that maybe it is that he's saying that part of the reason why he would probably leave is that if he was staying, some big players would not be a part of his setup, and ultimately that would probably affect the quality of the team.
Oh, yes, that is always a consideration, and we thought about that too. But at the end of the day, we have to be fair and have to make rulings based on what we see in front of us. So we thought about that. I mean, to make it clear, the players did say that if they don't remove him, they couldn't guarantee their commitment. So they were very clear, and that is some of the reason why we didn't even need to interview them, because they made it very clear in writing what they thought was a problem, where they were going. If we didn't accede to what they are saying.
But so here's the last thing, Rudolph. If it is that the technical committee, based on its assessment of a process that you say was detailed and took a lot of time, so it wasn't a rushed process, you're comfortable with the amount of time you took and the thoroughness of the work done, couldn't there have been a recommendation to that there was no reason to remove the coaching staff, but given the toxic nature of relations between said coaching staff and the girls, that it was needful for a new beginning before the qualifiers, the teams assembled for the qualifiers? In other words, the relationship has broken down irretrievably. You've spoken of the toll it has taken on Vin Blaine. You spoke of him not being willing to give the technical committee a commitment that he will continue in that meeting where he was effectively exonerated. In that regard, couldn't the committee have said, look, he wasn't guilty of what he was accused of, but we believe it prudent to go with a different head coach so that there are no ill feelings carrying over from this process into the rest of the World Cup campaign?
But the danger from doing that is that the next coach, if he's not a coach that the players like, would suffer the same fate.
But you've said that I'm saying Riot Act, that the JFF has read the Riot Act to the players and said, look, responsibilities for playing, the players, responsibilities for administering, the administration, managing the management. That's what we do. But remember, the only reason I'm asking the question, Rudolph Speed, is because Vin Blaine did not give a commitment to stay on, and up to this minute in sports, he has not given a commitment to stay on because he's so put out by the process and the fact that it's a toxic relationship and environment that he's going into. He's going into a beer pit. So I'm saying from that perspective, it could be an option to pursue the course of action, the line that I would suggest, and it would be prudent to do so as well.
No. I'm not saying it's not, but based on where we are, we did ask him, and he did say he's not likely to continue. So it's really his move in this particular sense. It's not ours, because we couldn't, with good consciences, ask him to resign. Based on what has transpired.
Hear you on that.
So, and also, I mean, if they are able to remove him, even if he's doing well, then the next coach, then we'll have to ask them to choose the next coach because it will be their call.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't going on that way in yet.
Last one, Rudolph Speed. If Vin Blaine resigns tomorrow, would you be minded to convene a meeting of the technical committee with him to ask him to reconsider?
Not to ask him to reconsider, but we did have a technical committee set up on emergency just in case he did resign, because at the end of the day now we'd have to move on and to find a replacement for him.
Hear you on that. Thank you very much for your time. All the best.
You're welcome.
Chairman of the JFF's Technical Committee, Rudolph Speed, the committee exonerating Vin Blaine of the charges made against him in a letter to the JFF demanding that himself and his coaching staff be removed. The JFF said there was no case of Vin Blaine to answer. He effectively explained away the charges made against him. But Blaine says the relationship is so damaged, so gangrenous, that he's unsure whether he wants to continue, but he'll be making his position clear in short order. We take a break. We come back with more on the SportsMax Zone. Thank you for watching SportsMax on YouTube. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell to stay informed.